Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are going to explore in great depth one of the most iconic, widely collected, and historically important American coins, the Washington quarter dollar, a coin that not only carries the portrait of the nation's first president but also embodies a rich history of American numismatics, design evolution, and the fascinating world of error coins and rare varieties that have captured the attention of collectors for decades. And in this detailed journey we will unfold every aspect of this coin from its very origin to its current status in the coin collecting community, starting from 1932 when the Washington quarter was first struck by the United States Mint to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George Washington's birth, a decision made after much debate because originally the Treasury had planned to redesign the half-dollar. But the Commission of Fine Arts decided the quarter would be a more fitting denomination, and the portrait of Washington was designed by sculptor John Flanagan, whose design replaced the standing Liberty quarter that had been minted since 1916, and collectors today often look back to those early 1932 issues with particular interest because they mark the beginning of a new era in American coinage, with two mints, Philadelphia and Denver, producing coins that year, and the 1932 D and 1932 S quarters are now some of the most sought-after key dates in the entire series, often fetching thousands of dollars depending on grade, condition, and rarity, with pristine uncirculated examples known to reach auction prices well above $100,000, making them an ultimate treasure for numismatists. And as the years progressed, the Washington quarter became a constant presence in American pockets, circulating widely and enduring through decades of economic and cultural changes, while also experiencing significant transformations itself, particularly in terms of metal composition, as the original quarters minted from 1932 until 1964 were struck in 90% silver and 10% copper, giving them not only intrinsic value tied to the price of silver but also a beautiful luster and ringing sound that collectors cherish. And when the Coinage Act of 1965 was passed during a period of rising silver prices, the composition was changed to copper-nickel clad with a pure copper core, a shift that disappointed many but also created a divide between classic silver Washington quarters and modern clad versions, and those pre-1965. Silver quarters remain highly collectible and valued for both their historical significance and bullion content, often selling for many times their face value, while within this broad series there are numerous varieties and errors that truly fascinate coin enthusiasts, such as the famous 1937 double die obverse, the 1943 S double die reverse, the 1950 D/S over mintmark variety, and one of the most famous modern errors, the 2004 D Wisconsin quarter with extra leaf varieties, known as the extra high leaf and extra low leaf, which have reached prices in the thousands even in circulated condition, proving that modern state quarters also hold rare treasures. And while we focus heavily on the early silver issues, it is also important to recognize how the Washington quarter has evolved into a collector's canvas through special programs like the 50 State Quarters program launched in 1999, which revitalized coin collecting in America, followed by the America the Beautiful quarters, beginning in 2010, each showcasing national parks and landmarks. But throughout all these programs, the obverse portrait of Washington has remained central, symbolizing stability and tradition, though updated and refined by later sculptors. And for collectors who want to dive deep, condition and grading play an enormous role in value, with high-grade coins certified by PCGS or NGC commanding massive premiums, and registry set collectors competing to own the finest known specimens often push auction prices to record-breaking levels, such as the 1932 D quarter in MS66, which sold for over $140,000, and another famous sale was the 1932 S in MS67, which crossed the $100,000 mark, establishing the Washington quarter as not just a common coin but also a centerpiece of numismatic prestige. And beyond the monetary aspect, these coins reflect the story of American design, politics, and culture, because the choice of Washington's portrait on circulating coinage was itself symbolic, representing national unity during the Great Depression, while later state and park designs highlighted America's diversity and heritage. And so from an investment standpoint, Washington quarters remain a favorite both for beginners, who can easily find circulated clad quarters, and for advanced collectors chasing key silver dates, double dies, and mint errors that add tremendous excitement. And as we continue this deep dive, it's clear that the Washington quarter is much more than spare change. It is a window into American history, artistry, and value, carrying surprises that have made it one of the most enduring series in U.S. coinage history. The Washington quarter dollar continues to be one of the most widely studied, collected, and appreciated coins in American numismatic history, and in the second part of our in-depth journey we will explore not only the fascinating varieties and errors that make this series so attractive to collectors, but also the historical context that shaped its designs, its most valuable auction records, the role of grading and condition in determining value, and the evolution of special commemorative issues that expanded its popularity far beyond ordinary circulation. And when we think about era coins in particular, the Washington quarter has produced some of the most exciting discoveries in U.S. coinage, ranging from double dies, repunched mint marks, off-center strikes, and even transitional errors such as 1965 quarters accidentally struck on silver planchets that were intended to be discontinued after 1964, and these transitional errors are among the rarest, with one example certified in high mint state selling for well over $7,000, proving that even a coin struck during a metal composition change can become a prized rarity. And then we have the famous 1970 S-proof quarter struck on a 1941 Canadian quarter, a unique mint error that fetched over $35,000 at auction. Which reminds us that some of the most valuable quarters are not just ordinary circulation strikes but accidental creations of the mint that reveal how fascinating the minting process can be. And while mint errors capture headlines, some of the highest auction prices for Washington quarters come from pristine condition regular strikes, because condition rarity combined with key dates drives collectors to pay astonishing sums, and one of the best examples is the 1932 D quarter, the undisputed key to the series, which in average circulated condition sells for hundreds of dollars, but in mint state gem grades explodes in value, with MS-66 examples breaking past $140,000 in major auctions, and the 1932 S follows closely as another key rarity, with superb gems crossing the $100,000 mark, showing us that even without dramatic mint errors, simple scarcity in high condition can create monumental value. And throughout the silver era from 1932 through 1964, many collectors pursue full sets of Washington quarters, and those who chase them in higher uncirculated grades know how difficult it is to locate lustrous, original coins free of bag marks, which is why services like PCGS and NGC grading have become so critical in establishing market value, and registry set competition has driven demand to levels previously unseen, making even common dates in extraordinary preservation quite valuable. And when we move forward into the clad era starting in 1965, most circulated pieces hold little numismatic premium, but once again, errors and varieties breathe life into the series, such as the famous 1976 Bicentennial quarters with double dies, the 1983 double die reverse, and the 2004 D Wisconsin state quarters with extra leaf varieties, which even in circulated condition have sold for thousands of dollars because they represent modern rarities that collectors can still sometimes find in circulation. And the Bicentennial quarter of 1976 deserves special mention because it replaced the regular reverse design for 2 years, featuring the colonial drummer boy and dual date, 1776 to 1976, which captured the patriotic spirit of America's 200th anniversary and became one of the most widely saved coins by the public. And although most are common, high-grade silver-proof versions carry strong premiums, adding another layer of appeal for collectors. And as the Washington quarter entered the state quarters program in 1999, its legacy expanded dramatically, as millions of new collectors were drawn into the hobby by designs that showcased each state. And while most are plentiful, certain era quarters like off-metal strikes and die adjustment strikes from this era are incredibly valuable, and the excitement of hunting for rare varieties kept the quarter at the forefront of popular coin collecting. And in the following decade, the America the Beautiful Quarters program extended this trend, with beautiful designs highlighting national parks and landmarks, giving the Washington Quarter Series the longest-running and most diverse set of designs in U.S. coinage history. And yet through all these changes, the enduring presence of Washington's portrait on the obverse serves as a symbol of continuity, tying together decades of coinage and reinforcing the national respect for the first president. And while modern clad quarters may not command high premiums in circulated grades, the thrill of finding a rare error or a perfect gem keeps collectors engaged, and the silver issues remain foundational for investment, especially because they carry intrinsic bullion value in addition to their numismatic history. And as we reflect on everything covered in these two parts, it becomes clear that the Washington quarter is not just spare change, but a piece of American heritage that can be worth far beyond its face value, whether through its silver content, its historical role in honoring George Washington, its role in major collector programs like the state quarters, or its ability to surprise collectors with rare and valuable mint errors that fetch thousands at auction. And that combination of accessibility for beginners and challenge for advanced numismatists is what makes the Washington Quarter Series truly special, a coin that will continue to fascinate generations to come, carrying stories of the past, opportunities for discovery, and the potential for extraordinary value. And with that, we conclude this deep look into the Washington Quarter Dollar, one of the most iconic coins in American history. And as always, thanks for watching.